Tim and Tad were walking down the street when Tim came across something very fortunate, a crisp, unclaimed $20 bill. Tim was reflecting on his good fortune when Tad exclaimed, "With that kind of luck, you should buy a lottery ticket." Well, no, he shouldn't. While the lottery has been around for many years without much opposition, it is time to take a closer examination of this institution to see it for what it really is, an abomination. In more ways than one, the lottery is against fundamental American values. The lottery is dishonest, costly to those who can't pay, and an unchallenged monopoly. So what does the lottery tell us about them? Reported in April 1999 by a report to the National Gambling Impact Study Commission, the effect of the lottery advertising is to create an impression that winning is easy. However, in Louisiana's Tic-Tac-Two's instant win game, winning a prize more than $30 is 1 in 2,944. That's 0.03%. So it's not easy, and that's just for a prize for more than $30. You know, $30. Enough for a lunch for a family of 4, but not what you're playing the lottery for. No, that prize is a lot less likely. In fact, Forbes reported on January 13th, 2016, in the recent Powerball jackpot, if you buy a single ticket, you've got approximately a 1 in 238 million chance of winning. So what's more likely? Will you have a better chance of dating a millionaire, being injured by a toilet, getting crushed by a meteor, getting struck by lightning, death from scalding hot tap water, becoming an astronaut, becoming a saint, and finally, predicting the March Madness bracket perfectly? Now, I can't remember any of those happening to me, ever. Nor can most people. According to Quentin Fortrell of MarketWatch.com, January 16, 2016, the article states, lotteries are exempt from the Federal Trade Commission, truth in advertising laws. Additionally, Mr. Fortrell contracted the FCC regarding jurisdiction over lottery advertising and was informed that state-run lotteries are exempt from FCC authority. To paraphrase the article, the 47 states and the U.S. territories operating lotteries are self-regulating relative to advertising, giving them the ability to make people believe that they're more fortunate than someone dating a millionaire. Another common belief is that money raised by lotteries goes into education. This, however, isn't entirely true. For every dollar added to the government's budget from lotteries, they remove a dollar to put it towards other areas. The New York State Comptroller recorded that from 1981 to 1996, the amount of money added to education steadily increased, but the revenue stayed at the same level. This means that education would stay the same with or without the lottery. This dishonesty is unethical and unacceptable. So who buys lottery tickets? Well, according to a Duke University report, to the National Gambling Impact Study Commission, that 54% of lottery sales are made by 5% of players. According to Atlantic Magazine, total sales in the U.S. of the lottery exceeded $70 billion. That averages to $230 for every man, woman, and child. The 5% who buys 54% of the tickets is spending approximately $3,240 per year on lottery tickets. A study by the state of South Carolina shows that 54% of the tickets are purchased by those with incomes under $40,000 per year. Furthermore, The Consumerist recently had an interesting post about a study that shows that the poor households with annual take-home incomes under $13,000 on average spend $645 a year on lottery tickets, which comes to about 9% of their yearly income. These heavy players have a condition classified by the American Psychiatric Association as an addiction. This 5% tends to be made up of low-income families. Families that can't afford to be wasting money. But due to their addiction, they make room for this money-eating machine. In a study done by the National Bureau of Economic Research, they found that while more money went into lottery, less money went into other areas. Most significantly, home, mortgage, rent, food, and clothing. The lottery is leeching off of these poor families and leaving them in a barely functional state. A state that they believe only the lottery can save them from. However, as we have seen, the odds are always against you. In fact, winning the lottery isn't always a way out. According to the New York Daily News, nearly 70% of lottery winners end up broke within 7 years. So once they win the lottery, they have a greater chance of losing it than winning it. So the lottery isn't a source of hope. It is a pit of money that you fall into and you don't come out of. So these addicted, low income, and low budget players are making up 54% of total sales. How could it be worse? Well, according to the Tax Foundation, lotteries are fundamentally different from other gambling in one important way. They are provided by the state and only by the state. So unlike casinos, which face competition from other casinos, lotteries operate as a monopoly. So they can set their pricing artificially high, or equivalently, their payout rates artificially low. These artificially high prices create additional fees for lottery players that robs them of their very limited supply of funds. John D. Rockefeller became one of the richest people to ever live because of a monopoly, and he was attacked for it. Rightly so, because monopolies are oppressive. They rise to power at the expense of others, so Rockefeller was stopped in the hopes of stopping monopolies for future generations. But here we are, 105 years after Rockefeller's monopoly ended, facing the same oppressive beast, a monopoly. These unchallenged monopolies cannot be allowed to go unchallenged any longer. So with all of these issues, it is clear that the lottery is a problem. Any good citizen would agree that if a problem can be solved, it should be. So what's the solution to this problem? Many have stumbled upon one solution on their own. Just don't buy lottery tickets. However, as we have seen, that would be tough for these addicted players, as it would be very hard to stop them from buying tickets due to their addiction. So there are a few options. First of which is to end this monopoly by allowing private businesses to hold lotteries and compete with each other. In doing so, it would improve odds for players and would allow the government to regulate the industry without any conflicts of interest. The second option is to have lotteries regulated on the national level to keep them from getting out of hand. They also should stop the lottery for profit business, which is currently keeping their incentives at odds with the government's responsibility to protect the welfare of citizens. Finally, there is an option to have the government offer prize-linked savings accounts. These would be both beneficial and entertaining. Prize-linked savings accounts work by allowing the individual to put money into their own savings account with the opportunity to be awarded prizes. Most commonly, when the individual deposits $25 into their account, they win one chance to win money later, usually a monthly drawing and some at a quarterly drawing. However, so far, most states have prevented businesses from offering these. A few states, such as Michigan, Nebraska, Washington, and North Carolina, allow credit unions to offer prize-linked savings accounts. However, according to the Huffington Post, most states don't offer these. According to the Huffington Post, September 2015, collectively, they have generated $94 million of savings, with 60% of the participants being identified as financially vulnerable. So these accounts are working, and all they need is to be encouraged by the state governments, and they can turn these bad situations into good opportunities. So Tad and Tim were walking down the street. All of a sudden, Tim spots a crisp and unclaimed $20 bill. Tad exclaims, "With that luck, you should buy a lottery ticket." And now it's up to us to change the story, so that Tim can say, "Actually, I'm going to put this money into a prize-linked savings account and invest in my future while having fun at the same time." In today's modern world, we can't allow the dishonesty, the costliness, and the monopoly of lotteries to continue. We can change this together by standing up and letting our state governments know that we've had enough. So I hope that the next time you think of luck, you think of how lucky someone can be that they can put their money into something with a little more integrity. Thank you.